A 7.1 magnitude earthquake has rocked Tibet, killing dozens as rescue teams search for survivors.
Multiple German political parties launched their electoral campaigns ahead of the country's February 23rd federal election.
A 7.1 magnitude earthquake has rocked Tibet, killing dozens of people. Emergency teams are still rushing to rescue survivors. It is one of the deadliest quakes China has seen in recent years. Many others are injured. The quake hit the holy Shigatse city around 9 a.m. local time on Tuesday at a depth of about 10 kilometers, according to data from the US Geological Survey. Earthquakes are common in the mountainous region of Tibet in western China, which lies between the Indian and Eurasian plates. The US Geological Survey says there have been more than 10 earthquakes of at least magnitude 6 to strike this area over the past century.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan vowed to uphold Syria's territorial integrity, saying he would continue his country's fight against the Kurdistan Workers' Party during a speech following his cabinet's first 2025 meeting. Erdogan reiterated Turkish support for Syria and warned Ankara would act swiftly against perceived threats.
Suriye'nin parçalanmasına, hangi kisveyle olursa olsun, üniter yapısının bozulmasına rıza göstermeyiz. Bu konuda bir risk görürsek, gerekli adımları süratle atarız. Bölücü örgüt ve Suriye'deki uzantıları için çember daralıyor.
Erdogan pledged to achieve a terror-free Turkey through peaceful means if possible, but with force if necessary. During Syria's uprising-turned conflict, US-backed Kurdish-dominated forces carved out an enclave of autonomous rule across northeastern Syria, never allying entirely with al-Assad in Damascus, nor the rebels trying to overthrow him.
The Lebanese army says it has begun deploying to the southern coastal city of Nakura following the withdrawal of Israeli troops under the ceasefire conditions agreed upon in November. A video released by the Lebanese army on Monday showed military vehicles driving in Nakura in the Tyre district. The troops' deployment followed that of two other southern towns where Israeli troops have withdrawn since the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel went into effect. The deployment also coincided with a meeting of the committee overseeing the ceasefire agreement in Ras al-Nakura, which is home to the headquarters of the UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL. Meanwhile, local officials in Gaza say a strike in Burej, a Palestinian refugee camp located in the central Gaza Strip on Monday night, killed at least 3 people. Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza has killed over 45,800 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to Japan on Tuesday, aiming to strengthen relations between the two countries. At a time of tensions in geopolitics in the region and globally, Blinken thanked Japan for rapidly standing up for Ukraine after Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022.
Because Japan saw it and recognized it and stood up, resonated around the world, a recognition here that the aggression that Russia was committing was not only against Ukraine, not only against the Ukrainian people, but against the very principles that are at the heart of the international system.
The visit comes just a day after North Korea fired an interballistic missile into the Eastern Sea close to Japan. The US says Russia is now providing Pyongyang with military equipment and training, and that Putin may be close to accepting the North's nuclear weapons program. This will be Blinken's last overseas trip before US President-elect Donald Trump takes office. On Friday, the Biden administration announced it will deliver a €3.5 billion military package to Japan.
The German federal election is in full swing. Multiple parties have kicked off their election campaigns in what's being dubbed as one of the most crucial elections in German history. The Greens Party began their campaign tour in Lübeck, where some 1,200 people attended. The event was headlined by Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck and Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock. The Greens were quick to attack their competition, accusing previous governments under the Christian Democratic Union Party of plunging the country into economic turmoil. The Greens promised to continue on the path of making Germany greener and pledged to continue advancing renewable energy projects. Habeck says the party's economic outlook is designed to address issues of concern to ordinary Germans, like rising rents and scarce job opportunities. He adds that unlike his rivals, he will implement policy that will make Germany affordable again.
Das sind reale Probleme, die nicht verschwinden werden, auch wenn die Regierungsmehrheit sich ändert. Und deswegen müssen wir in diesem Wahlkampf Antworten geben, die diese und andere Probleme, so große Probleme, ernst nehmen und Antworten geben, die so groß sind wie die Probleme. Wir brauchen eine Politik, die bereit ist, das in Frage zu stellen, was in der Vergangenheit als Regeln gesetzt wurde.
The Christian Social Union Party also held a meeting in preparation for the upcoming elections. The party organized a 3-day event in Bavaria, which reportedly featured businessmen and foreign politicians as attendees. The party's chairman, Markus Söder, presented a very different approach, instead opting to abort green policies, which he labeled as ineffective and expensive. His party pledges to vastly increase investment in areas like the auto industry, research and innovation, new technology, and defense industries, all areas the CSU accused the ruling coalition of ignoring.
Dass Forschung und Innovation, die für uns wichtig ist, die übrigens von der Ampel ständig gekürzt wurde, Luft, Raumfahrt, KI, Robotik, solche Dinge müssen elementarer Bestandteil unserer Strategie sein, müssen aber nicht nur für die Wirtschaft, für Innovation in der ökonomischen Nutzung, sondern eben auch in der militärischen Forschung zugänglich gemacht werden.
The CSU has already ruled out any possible coalition with the Greens in the upcoming federal election. Voters are faced with a critical decision on the 23rd of February in an election with a lot at stake.
Far-right French politician Jean-Marie Le Pen has died at the age of 96. According to his family, he had been in a care facility for several weeks. One of France's most controversial figures, Le Pen formed the Front National Party, since rebranded as the National Rally by his daughter Marine. Le Pen was an extremist on race, gender and immigration. His controversial statements, including Holocaust denial, led to multiple convictions. In 2002, he ran against Jacques Chirac in the presidential elections, a race he was expected to not even reach. Chirac won by landslide. The moment, however, is seen as a turning point for the party, now one of France's main political forces.
A decade after the deadly assault on the offices of the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo, France paused on Tuesday to honor the victims, but also to grapple with the evolving challenges of free expression and terrorism. President Emmanuel Macron and Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo led solemn tributes at the site of the attack, where 12 people were killed on the 7th of January 2015. Speaking to local media, French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau cited the recent attacks at public gatherings in Germany and New Orleans as grim reminders of why France must maintain a very high level of caution.
L'an dernier, on a déjoué, nos services ont déjoué 9 attentats. C'est plus que depuis 2017. Ça veut dire que nos services, et la France est réarmée considérablement. Mais ça veut dire que la menace, elle est toujours là. Elle est toujours là. Et il faut non seulement y faire face, mais aussi voir le terreau de cette menace, qui est l'islamisme.
The attack on Charlie Hebdo, carried out in retaliation for the newspaper's irreverent caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, ignited fierce global debates about the limits of free expression. 10 years on, Charlie Hebdo said its research shows that while a majority of the French still believe in the fundamental right to caricature, younger generations increasingly criticize satire they see as divisive or insensitive, particularly toward marginalized communities.
Moldova accuses Kremlin of orchestrating a security crisis in the country. Since 1st of January, Transnistria, a separatist pro-Russian Moldovan territory, has no longer been receiving gas from Russia, which used to transit via Ukraine. The government in Chisinau has offered to help, but the gesture was rejected by the Transnistrian officials. The situation is now worrying for the inhabitants as winter conditions are getting worse.
What we see today in Transnistrian region is that people don't have electricity for hours, they don't have heating, most of all, they don't have access to gas, and starting today, they have even interruptions of water supply.
Moldova's prime minister accuses Russia of provoking a humanitarian crisis in the region with the aim of destabilizing the pro-European government a few months ahead of parliamentary elections scheduled for this autumn. According to Chisinau, Russia's interest is in being able to strengthen its military presence in Transnistria, since it has around 1,500 soldiers in the region bordering Ukraine.
So this is what we want to achieve for Russia to withdraw the troops and to allow Chisinau and to allow Moldova to administer properly the region and to provide the government, the public services that people are requiring.
The Russian energy company Gazprom's explanation to suspend deliveries is because Moldova is late with its payments. Chisinau disputes this, and Brussels is watching the situation closely as Moldova is a candidate country to the European Union.